Hi, and welcome to Clappia. In this video, we will see how to use the Get Data from Other Apps block to pull selected data from one app to another based on certain filters. For example, what if a user needs to pull tickets assigned only to them or orders linked to a specific customer? In such cases, we can set up the Get Data from Other Apps block to filter and display only the relevant information. Now, I have already covered the basics of this block separately in another video, which shows how to pull all data. You can check that out too. I will link it in the description. This video will focus on dynamic filters for fetching selected data only. Let's take an example. In this video, I will create a ticket management app that pulls employee details from one app and ticket details from another app into one single app. So this is my employee MIS app that I created earlier. I've opened it in another tab. This maintains employee details, as you can see here in my submissions tab. And this is another app that I created for raising tickets. Again, I've opened this in another tab. This app maintains all the tickets raised and who they are assigned to. Notice that the employee names are similar to the ones in the employee MIS app. So in the third app, I will pull employee information and based on who the ticket is assigned to, pull those ticket details only. I will create that app from scratch. So I'll go back to the dashboard and click on New App. In this main app, I will give it a name. Let's say Ticket Management App. I will first create one section where my users can select their information from the Employee MIS app. First, I'll name the section. Then I'll click on Add Field and use the Get Data from Other Apps block. This block can be configured on the right-hand panel. I'll just use it to pull up the employee information. So this will just be the basics of configuring the Get Data block, and I will set this up quickly. Think of it as a recap to this block's configuration. First, I'll give it a label. I'll leave the description blank. The data source app, since I'm pulling information from the employee MIS, I will select this app. The search criteria, what the user will be typing in to search the employee ID, will be this field from this app. I could also probably select the employee name. Based on the search criteria, I'll pull up certain fields. And that's it. I'll click on Save, and you can see the fields have been automatically populated here. This is the basic setup for the Get Data block. And if you were to go to the advanced option, we do have some additional features which was not mentioned in the earlier video. You can set the minimum characters to show the search options when the users start typing in. You can also set the maximum results to display in case you have too many submissions from the app that you're pulling from. In case the submission is not available in the other app, you can enable this option to allow users to create a new submission. Normally in the Get Data block, these fields will automatically be populated in App Home once they make a selection. But if a submission is not found, when they type in the search criteria, if this is enabled, they can fill in all the details. We also have Enable Broad Search. This is used to match the characters typed in and shows all available submissions. These two options are already shown in the earlier video, so you can check that out if you want to. Since this is just a recap, let's see how this block looks like in App Home. So now I can type in the employee ID, or I can just make a selection, and all the fields will be filled in by fetching the data from this app. Now I will add another Get Data block to fetch tickets from this app. So I'll go back to Design app. I will add another section just to make it look neat and add another Get Data block to fetch tickets from that app. I need this block to fetch tickets only from the associated employee ID. For that, I will use the dynamic filter in the Get Data block. So first I'll do the basic setup. First I'll give it a label. Again, leave the description blank as it's not needed. The data source app will be tickets raised. I will let the search criteria be ticket number from this app that they will search with. Based on the ticket number, I will pull certain fields. Now, if I do not give a dynamic filter and simply click on Save in App Home, if a user were to click on this field, it will show all the tickets available in this app. But I want to filter it based on the employee ID. So based on this employee ID, if there are any tickets raised and assigned to this person, only these ticket details should show up in the Get Data from Other Apps block. So for that, in Dynamic Filter, I'll click on Add Filter. Now here, I will have to select a field from the Tickets app. So my filtering criteria is the employee ID. All these fields are from the Tickets app. So I will select employee ID, and this field should match with a field from this app. So since I'm already pulling employee ID from the employee MIS app, I will match it to this field using this variable. So I'll type in @ employee ID You can see this variable matches this, so I'll select it. In my tickets app, I added the employee ID field as well as in the employee MIS. I did that on purpose so that the system can easily match submissions. It is fine if we have fields under different names as long as the submission matches, else the filter will not work. So if this was named unique ID, it wouldn't matter as long as it matches the submission. Now, even though I did not use employee ID as the search criteria or in the pull fields, it will still match the submissions. Now I'll click on Save. Let's see how this looks like in App Home. So first I'll make a selection for the employee ID. And now I'll select the tickets. You can see it shows me only 3 tickets now. So if I go to the Tickets app, there are only 3 tickets assigned to this person. So I can make a selection and all the details appear. Now, over here you can see for this person, there is 1 ticket with the status closed. If you want to know how to assign statuses for your submissions, there is a separate video on how you can set this. I will link it in the description. Now in my main app, if I don't want any closed tickets to appear over here in the search bar, then I will need to make a slight adjustment. So back in Design app, for the Get Data block, we also have status filter. So based on statuses, you can show which submissions to appear in the search bar. So I can click on In Progress and Open. I'll save this. Now go back to App Home. I'll select the same person. And now over here, only 2 tickets are shown, which is these 2. And it does not show the closed submission. Now once I select a ticket, let's say your user will need to make certain changes to the options. For that, going back to Design app, these are the fields that are pulled from the Get Data block. So if you click on it, you can configure it on the right panel. You can change the name, you can give it a description, you can also go to the advanced option, and if the users are to make any changes to the field values, they can enable this option, make this field editable, and save this. You can also make certain fields hidden. Let's say I want the ticket number to be hidden. Now once you enable this option, you will get an additional option that says retain value if hidden. This is enabled by default. So for example, if you were to make fields hidden in your app for any requirement and you need the values to be retained in your fields, even though it is hidden, keep this enabled. Now let's check this. Going back to App Home, select the employee ID, select a ticket, and now you can see the priority block is still grayed out and I'm unable to make changes. However, since I configured this block to be editable, I can make changes. And you can also see the ticket number block is hidden in this app. So in this way, you can set up the Get Data from Other Apps block to filter and display only relevant information. And this also works on the mobile app. If you haven't downloaded it already, you can do so either on Play Store or App Store, and it will work in a similar way, but only with internet connection. So if you have any issues in configuring the Get Data from Other Apps block, how to set up the dynamic filter, the status filter, or on any other feature in Clappia, you can always raise a support request by clicking on the button over here, select the appropriate option that is convenient for you, and we'll get in touch. Thank you.